You set the alarm for 6 in the morning. You swore this time would be different. And yet, here you are at midnight scrolling through your phone knowing you'll regret it. You promised yourself you'd stop procrastinating. You'd eat better. You'd finally start that project. But something keeps pulling you back. There is a war happening inside your mind right now. A battle between who you are and who you want to be. And you're losing. Not because you're weak. Not because you lack discipline, but because you don't understand the invisible forces controlling your behavior. Hidden forces control you. Today, we're going to expose them. Every single one. And by the end of this video, you'll finally understand why you sabotage yourself and, more importantly, how to stop. The divided mind. Here's something that will disturb you. You don't have one mind, you have at least two. Sigmund Freud called them the conscious and unconscious. Modern neuroscience calls them System 1 and System 2, but the names don't matter. What matters is this. One part of your brain makes plans, the other part makes decisions, and they almost never agree. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Think about it. Your conscious mind decided to wake up early, but your unconscious mind, the ancient part that craves comfort and fears discomfort, it hit the snooze button. You weren't being lazy. You were being human. Because here's the terrifying truth. Your conscious mind is the passenger. Your unconscious mind is the driver. And it's been driving you off cliffs your entire life without you even noticing. Two minds. One wants growth. The other wants survival. And survival always wins, unless you learn to negotiate with the driver. But first, you need to understand something even darker about why you resist change. Comfort addiction. Your brain is a drug dealer and its favorite product, comfort. Every time you avoid something difficult, your brain releases a tiny hit of relief. That relief feels good, so you do it again and again, until avoidance becomes your default setting. This is called negative reinforcement, and it's more addictive than cocaine. You are addicted to avoiding discomfort. That's why you check your phone when you should be working. That's why you binge Netflix when you should be sleeping. That's why you say yes when you mean no. Each escape feels like relief in the moment, but it's actually debt, emotional debt. And one day that debt comes due. The psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi discovered something fascinating. The moments when humans feel most alive, most fulfilled, most truly happy aren't moments of comfort. They are moments of struggle. Flow states happen when you're challenged just beyond your abilities. Comfort doesn't create happiness. It creates stagnation. If this pattern is starting to sound familiar, hit like and subscribe to keep exploring these hidden patterns in human behavior with me, because what comes next explains why you keep making the same mistakes. The identity trap. You don't act according to your goals. You act according to your identity. Read that again. You act according to who you believe yourself to be. If you believe you're a procrastinator, you'll procrastinate. If you believe you're bad with money, you'll spend recklessly. If you believe you're not a morning person, you'll hit snooze every single time. Not because it's true, but because your brain desperately wants to be consistent with the story you've told yourself. Psychologists call this cognitive consistency. Your mind would rather be consistently wrong than inconsistently right. Identity shapes behavior always. Here's an experiment. A group of people were told they scored high on a civic responsibility test, even though it was random. Weeks later, those same people were more likely to vote, donate to charity, and volunteer. Why? Because their identity shifted. They believed they were responsible citizens, so they acted like responsible citizens. The behavior followed the belief, not the other way around. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act but a habit. But here's where it gets twisted. Your identity was programmed before you could consent to it. And that programming might be running your entire life right now. Childhood scripts. By age 7, your personality was essentially complete. Your beliefs about yourself, your capabilities, your worth, all of it was programmed into you before you could tie your own shoes. You are running on software you didn't write. This is what psychologists call scripting. Your parents, teachers, siblings, they all handed you scripts, and you've been performing them ever since without even knowing it. Were you told you were the smart one, the difficult one, The one who always gives up. Those labels became prophecies. A child who's told they're clumsy becomes an adult who avoids sports. A child told they're not creative becomes an adult who never tries art. A child told they're bad with money becomes an adult drowning in debt. The script is still running in your head right now. And here's the cruel irony. The behaviors you hate most about yourself, they're probably protective mechanisms that made perfect sense when you were 5. The child who learned to procrastinate was avoiding judgment. The child who learned to people please was avoiding abandonment. The child who learned to self-sabotage was protecting themselves from the pain of failure. But you're not 5 anymore. Those scripts are obsolete, yet you keep running them. Why? Because changing scripts feels like dying, and your brain will do anything to avoid that. Fear of success. You think you're afraid of failure. You're wrong. Most self-sabotage comes from an unconscious fear of success. Success terrifies you. Think about what success actually means. If you succeed, expectations rise. If you succeed, people watch you more closely. If you succeed, you have more to lose. Your brain calculates all of this in milliseconds and decides, safer to stay small. This is why lottery winners often go broke within years. This is why people self-destruct right before major breakthroughs. This is why you mysteriously get sick before important presentations. Success means new problems. Psychologist Gay Hendricks calls this the upper limit problem. Everyone has an internal thermostat for how much success, happiness, and love they believe they deserve. When you exceed that limit, you unconsciously create problems to bring yourself back down. You pick a fight with your partner after a great day. You make a careless mistake after a big win. You get anxious for no reason when everything is going well. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Your potential terrifies you more than your failures ever could. But that's not the only force working against you. Instant gratification. Your brain evolved for a world that no longer exists. For millions of years, survival meant seeking immediate rewards. Food now, safety now, pleasure now. There was no tomorrow, there was only today. Your ancient brain is fighting against your modern goals, but now you live in a world of delayed rewards. The benefits of exercise show up months later. The payoff of learning compounds over years. The results of healthy eating take forever to appear. Your brain doesn't understand this. It wants the dopamine hit now, so it chooses the scroll, the snack, the easy option every single time. This is called temporal discounting. A reward today feels more valuable than a bigger reward tomorrow, even when you know better, even when you've promised yourself otherwise. Here's what makes it worse. Modern technology has weaponized this weakness. Social media, junk food, streaming services, they're all engineered to hijack your reward system. You're not fighting yourself anymore. You're fighting billion-dollar companies with armies of psychologists designing products to keep you hooked. The system is designed to exploit your weaknesses. But there's something even more insidious happening beneath all of this. Willpower myth. Here's a lie that's been ruining your life. You've been told that success is about willpower, about discipline, about trying harder. This is completely wrong. Willpower is a myth. Willpower is a finite resource. It depletes throughout the day like a battery. By evening, you have almost none left. That's why you make your worst decisions at night. That's why diets fail after dinner. That's why you scroll until midnight even though you know better. Relying on willpower is like relying on holding your breath. You can do it for a while, but eventually you'll gasp for air, and all your good intentions will collapse. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act but a habit. The people who seem disciplined aren't using more willpower than you. They've designed their environments to make the right choice the easy choice. They've built systems that don't require willpower at all. 1. Remove temptation from your environment. 2. Make good habits convenient. 3. Make bad habits inconvenient. 4. Design systems, not goals. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. But there's one more force we need to discuss, and it might be the most powerful of all. Social programming. You think your desires are your own. They're not. Most of what you want was installed by other people. Your dreams might not even be yours. Philosopher René Girard called this mimetic desire. We don't want things because we genuinely want them. We want things because other people want them. You want that promotion because your coworker wants it. You want that relationship status because society celebrates it. You want that lifestyle because influencers made it look desirable. You are chasing goals that someone else programmed into you. And here's the tragedy. When you finally achieve these borrowed desires, they feel empty because they were never yours to begin with. You climb the ladder only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. This is why successful people often feel hollow. They achieved everything society told them to achieve, and it meant nothing. The things you do that you don't want to do, many of them are performances for an audience that isn't even watching. You're living someone else's life, following someone else's script, dying someone else's death. You might be a stranger to yourself, but recognition is the first step toward freedom, breaking free. So how do you escape? How do you stop doing things you don't want to do? It starts with brutal honesty. Awareness. You cannot change what you refuse to see. Every time you catch yourself doing something you don't want to do, pause. Ask yourself, whose voice is this? Is this my childhood script? My fear of success? My addiction to comfort? Is this my identity protecting itself? My brain seeking instant gratification? My mimetic desire copying someone else? Question every impulse deeply. The Stoics had a practice called premeditatio malorum. Before each day they would imagine everything that could go wrong, not to be pessimistic, but to prepare their minds. They understood something crucial. Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. When you feel the pull toward unwanted behavior, that's the stimulus. The space before you act, that's where your freedom lies. Lengthen that space. Examine what's pulling you, and make a conscious choice instead of an automatic reaction. 1. Pause before acting on impulse. 2. Ask whose voice is driving you. 3. Identify the underlying fear. 4. Choose consciously, not automatically. But knowledge alone isn't enough. You need to rebuild yourself from the ground up. Become sovereign. The goal isn't to eliminate your unconscious drives. That's impossible. The goal is to become sovereign over them, to stop being ruled and start being the ruler. You must become the master of your own mind. This requires daily practice, not occasional motivation, not New Year's resolutions. Daily deliberate rewiring of your brain. Start small, absurdly small. Want to exercise? Commit to 1 push-up. Want to read more? Commit to 1 page. Want to wake up earlier? Set your alarm 5 minutes earlier. Not because these tiny actions matter in themselves, but because each small victory rewires your identity. Each kept promise teaches your brain that you can be trusted. Each completed commitment creates evidence that you are who you're becoming. Small wins build identity. The Japanese call it kaizen, continuous improvement through tiny steps. The compound effect of marginal gains. It works because it bypasses your brain's resistance to change. It works because it builds the most powerful force in human psychology, momentum. He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior. You've spent your whole life being controlled by your unconscious, by your past, by your fears, by society. Today you take your power back. You now understand what most people never will. The war inside your mind isn't a character flaw. It's evolutionary software running on modern hardware. Your unconscious protecting you from imaginary dangers. Your childhood scripts running programs that expired decades ago. Your fear of success keeping you safely small. Your brain's addiction to comfort slowly killing your potential. But knowing this changes everything, because now you can see the puppet strings. And when you can see them, you can cut them. See the strings, cut them. 1 choice at a time. 1 small victory at a time. 1 kept promise at a time. You rebuild yourself into someone who does what they say they'll do. Not through willpower, through identity, through systems, through conscious choice in that precious space between stimulus and response. If you made it this far, comment sovereign mind to prove you're ready to take back control. The truth is never comfortable, but it's always worth knowing. If this shifted something in you, hit like and subscribe. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant.